Thanks, everybody. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. Our next guests are the stars of the new romance film, 5 Feet Apart. In it, Haley Lu Richardson and Cole Sprouse play two teenagers living with cystic fibrosis who are also falling in love. Let's take a look.
I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Will Newman.
6 feet apart at all times. You both know the rules.
Let me guess. You're the kind of guy that ignores the rules because it makes you feel in control. Am I right?
You're not wrong.
You think that's cute?
Do you think it's cute?
There's no room in war for feelings.
Hello, world. My lung function is down to 35% now. People with cystic fibrosis aren't supposed to get within 6 feet because we could end up catching each other's bacteria.
Nothing's gonna save our lives, Stella. We're breathing borrowed air.
No, I refuse to believe that. Can I see your regimen? What is this? You're making me crazy.
Baby, it hits so hard.
We're gonna do our treatments together, so that way I know you're actually doing them.
Baby, you left your mark.
Always looking for ways to spend more time with me, aren't you, Stella?
Don't tell me the one time you're interested in some guy, he's also got CF.
I like seeing you like this.
Like what?
Hopeful. Why didn't I pack anything nice?
I will fight.
Oh, because you always back for a hot hospital romance.
I will fight for you.
God, you're beautiful. Brave. Wish I could touch you.
Stay away.
6 feet at all times. I got it.
Catch his infection and you can kiss new lungs goodbye.
We're not normal kids.
Dark and wait for
We don't get to take chances like this.
until I go.
This whole time, I've been living for my treatments instead of doing my treatments so that I can live. And I want to live.
Everybody, please welcome Cole Sprouse and Haley Lu Richardson. Hey, guys, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Congratulations on the movie. You two are wonderful in it. It's a sad, beautiful story. What made you want to be a part of this movie? What made you guys want to do it? How did this happen?
You take it away. You go.
Okay. Well, the script was good, but it was also about cystic fibrosis. And cystic fibrosis is a pretty underrepresented community. And so it felt like a great opportunity to shed light on that. But really, until I met with the director, Justin Baldoni, I was pretty trepidatious because if misrepresented, you can do a lot of damage to certain communities of people. So I wanted to make sure that he was familiar and passionate about the subject matter, and he just so happened to be the single most qualified person for that role. And he really helped us along with the research and getting us into character and setting up a web of connections that allowed us to do our research and meet with patients and medical professionals. And then it all seemed to ease my worries about the project, and then I signed on board.
You were worried that your performance, if it wasn't connected to an actual community, could come across as glib, or as if you weren't really taking it seriously, the troubles that people go through.
It's not so much, like I knew I was going to take it quite seriously, but the actors can only really control what they do on stage. The post-production cycle is very much out of our control. And at that point, you have to put your faith and trust into the people in that post-production cycle. And big studio interests or whatever else can really misrepresent at that point. So I wanted to make sure that the people we were working with, the team that I was going to be working with, had the same mission statement as I did.
We're very committed to telling the story of people with cystic fibrosis.
Exactly right.
What did you know about CF prior to going into the movie, and what did you learn?
I didn't know much. It is a rare disease, and not a lot of people know what CF stands for. But what, the realities of what people with CF go through. So I think that's, one of the great things about this movie is that people will be drawn to the movie theater for other reasons and then learn about cystic fibrosis. But I did a lot of research. I, was Googling everything. I hung out with a girl, Claire Wineland, who I couldn't have played this character if I didn't have the conversations I had with her. And she, if you don't know her, you should look her up. She had CF and was the reason why this movie was made.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did you get in touch with her? How did you start working with her?
Justin, when you said he's the most qualified person to make this movie, he is, from a soul level. He makes short documentaries about people with terminal illnesses, and Claire was one of the people he made a documentary about. And so they became really close friends because of that, and then meeting her inspired him to make the movie.
Wow. I'm curious, who was, I mean, did the two of you audition together? How did it come to be that the two of you were cast in this movie together? There's great chemistry.
Luck of the draw.
Yeah, truly. Truly. I guess Justin had Haley in mind for a very long time, but Haley, they had been friends through your fiance.
Jane the Virgin. Team Michael, if anyone cares. Yeah! What up? Cool.
But I signed on to the project first, and then it was really just this big, long search for the right person to do it, and Justin had always had Haley in mind, and we didn't really chemistry read or anything like that, and we kind of just rolled the dice on it and got really lucky. The cast connection is one of those parts of the production cycle that really is much more of a roll of the dice than anything else. Even the chemistry reads, when you do chemistry reads, it's such an insular kind of
auditions are pointless,
testing.
I think. Either you're right for it or you're not.
Right.
That's how that's how I feel. But
Well, that makes sense. I will say there was something, watching you do this role, it feels like a great Haley Lu Richardson role. Like, you've sort of hit this stride where it's like, not that you're repeating yourself in any way, but like watching you and Support the Girls and in this and in some of your other parts, it's like when you come on camera, it's exciting to watch you do that thing that you do really well, which is an excited, happy, fun person that it seems like everybody wants to be around in the movie.
thanks.
Yeah.
But not in real life.
But no.
No, yeah. It's a charade. But yeah, I feel like with all, being an actor, you can't help but bring yourself to roles. And that's, I think, what people connect to is, even if it's someone completely different than you, if there's that one bit of yourself that you can bring to it, and I guess I bring my charm.
Are you aware of the one thing that you bring to the role is? This is a question for both of you.
I think it's probably different with every role.
Right.
Yeah, there's something I recognize about myself personally, or like my parents can recognize about myself that's in roles, and I think it's different every time. What about you?
I think what was interesting about spending time with cystic fibrosis patients is that they're raised very much of their life around adults. So even at a very young age, they're quite used to, they feel very mature. Their way of speaking is very mature. Their outlook, their senses of humor is all very mature because they're raised around adults. And something strange about child stardom is it's very similar to that. You are, from a very young age, raised only around the adults that are essentially your peers on the set. So in that way, that was kind of something that I had brought to it, was this weird little bubble of existence that being raised around only adults and nobody else really your age kind of yields upon the maturation of a young person.
And so much of your language is built around something that very few other people have experienced.
Truly.
Be it whether it's as a child star or as someone living inside of a hospital with cystic fibrosis. So much of your life is built around things that only an insular community could really understand.
Precisely.
Yeah. What do you feel like you brought to that is about you in this role?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I think that just how heavy the movie is and the situations that these two people are in could get really serious. The movie's so emotional. It's like it was exhausting to film, and it's kind of exhausting to watch because it's so emotional. But I think that the times when they're just like kids and people, which is so important because people with CF aren't defined by CF, like it's important that we see that the audience sees what they deal with and how angry they would be at that, but then also just the fact that they're teenagers at the end of the day. And I think me being like weird and fun and liking to have a good time maybe brought some like lightness to that heavy situation, maybe?
Yeah. Do you feel like that's a huge part of who you are, is lightness and fun as well?
Yes, I don't like being sad. I really try to avoid it.
Whereas your character is sad. Do you like being sad, Cole?
Yes.
I like it better than being numb. No, I think Will's character is actually quite I don't know if he's sad. I think he's just resigned.
Yeah.
To the nature of his own mortality, which is one of the psychological consequences of being faced with your own mortality since you're born, because cystic fibrosis, you're born with it. It's a genetic disease, and that oftentimes people will resign themselves to it. And you know, Haley and I had kind of found these two pretty common yet opposing personality types that exist within the CF community of, and a line that you ended up speaking, which was influenced by Claire Wineland, which is that you're either doing your treatments to live or you're living for your treatments. And Will is one of those characters that is only really doing his treatments to live, but he's really doing poorly at it.
Yeah, I feel like at the beginning of their of the movie, neither of them have really reached that like free, surrender, healthy mindset of like doing your treatments to live. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're opposite at the beginning, and then through them like balancing each other out and opening up and being vulnerable with one another, and then the things that they experience in the movie, they both kind of reach that place where they realize what's the point of all this stuff that we're having to do our whole life since we're babies if we're not enjoying this time that we do have.
Yeah, each of them forces the other one to look at a piece of themselves that they're missing.
Yeah.
A kind of a yin and a yang for the
Yeah.
two of them. Is it difficult to have fun on set when you guys are making a movie that can be this heavy?
Yeah, frankly, yes. It can be. It's also, it's a matter of respect, too, because you're dealing with very emotional content and representing a group of people that, like I had mentioned, if misrepresented, you could do some damage to. And I think it's important for any actor to stay in the emotional context for as long as possible when dealing with the kind of content that we're supposed to be performing. So it was a bit difficult, but there are certainly times for balance and levity and space. And you know, the thing about the CF community is that from an outside point of view, it can feel like this really heavy thing. But due to the normalcy of CF within their upbringing and it being the only thing a lot of these patients know, there is like Claire was a great example. There was a dark humor and an easiness to talk about mortality and a willingness to talk about it and an openness about it that wasn't light, but it wasn't dark. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It's and finding that balance, I think, was important for us as well. It's finding something that felt natural and common to the characters while simultaneously not feeling too weighted.
Well, it's hard to create. It's hard to perform when things are weighted, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Especially within, which honestly, this was something I was scared about, or not scared, skeptical, or whatever the word is. But the doing this and telling this story in the like teen genre romance world scared me, and that was one of the reasons why I was kind of hesitant to do it, even though I saw the beauty in the story and what they're going through, and I love Justin.
Did you feel like the genre wouldn't do justice to the struggle or to the lives that people are actually living?
And I was worried about, like, can you really make these characters, like, no matter who this guy is that I'm going to be working with. This was before I met Cole, who's a great guy. But like, no matter who I'm working with, who the other actors are.
That is very funny that you put your mic up to your face to make a face and not a sound.
That's going to be the weird photo that they have a still of.
But what were we talking about?
I'm so sorry that I interrupted you. I just had to point that wonderful.
I was going somewhere. I know. I'm really. I don't know.
You were talking about the being afraid that the genre that the movie falls in would. Yeah.
Because it's so big and magical, and like you can't have magical dialogue and magical characters in a magical big world. Like, I wanted to make sure with Justin and Cole that, yeah, obviously it is what it is. It's you know, a movie for young people. It's a movie for a lot of people, but you know, the main audience is young people, and so it needed to be what it is, but like making the characters is like real and grounded and lived in, and you know, just like you can when you watch a movie, you know, it's obvious even to people who aren't actors if what they're saying is something that you can actually relate to, and it's not like, oh, that's movie dialogue, like that they're saying what they memorized from a script. Like, it's really obvious, I think, even for young people when they watch movies. It was for me when I was young.
Well, with a movie like this, with this genre, the dialogue has to sort of oscillate between realistic and also an articulation of how teenagers feel or think they feel or want to be able to talk, but maybe don't know how to talk yet. And that could be so difficult while at the same time you're representing what feels like very real teenagers in a real struggle.
Yeah. It's definitely a fine line of having to get the, you know, concept and the points of the movie across, and make it feel like it's not forced.
I think sort of the YA romance genre is actually a perfect platform for this kind of discussion. I think it's something that the audience in very many ways is primed for. You know, our movie very much keeps in dialogue with other movies of this type in the past, which may have not done the greatest job in representing certain communities, but in that way, I feel like young adult romance has the opportunity to really create a larger public discussion about something like cystic fibrosis, which not many people know about, and do a great service in that if it's done correctly. If you're going to have this sort of YA romance, which is inherently magical and can feel quite magical, and the performances can feel grounded, and you're paring that sort of magic down with honest dialogue, I feel like the nature of capturing that youth audience for this kind of discussion becomes the single, like a truly perfect platform with which to do so.
Yeah. I think we have some time for questions from our audience. Okay, what do we got here? Who's got right here? Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello, I like your hat.
This is great.
Oh, you beat me to it.
No.
I was more excited about it, though. Your purse is cool.
Hi. I'm Danny.
And I'm Alice.
Hi.
Oh my god, I can't. I literally. Okay.
Yeah, we love you guys so much.
Our question is, do you guys have anything new coming up? Any like secret
projects or anything like that?
Haley?
Just make up a secret for them.
He's still going for
It's second puberty.
His voice is cracked in every.
I'm still playing 17 for a reason.
I don't know what I'm gonna do next.
The answer for her is a big no.
I have an Etsy account and I crochet and sell tops and scarves on there. So that's what I'm up
secret.
to.
That's great.
Yeah. That's what
Secret's
I'm up
out.
to in my life. Yeah.
Possible project in the upcoming months. I can't talk too much about it because it's a
juicy.
secret. Ooh. More of Riverdale and some photo gigs. But otherwise, not much.
Thank you so much.
Can we have a hug?
Of course.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Sneak it in.
You don't.
You care about me?
No one gives a
No,
shit about
you
me.
can,
No one cares
didn't
about. No,
get a
that's
hug.
okay. That's okay. Oh. I got a hug from her, so it's cool. Thanks, girls. Thank
I'm
you.
not going to hug you.
That's all right. Do you want a hug, Cole?
Dad.
I don't want to hug.
You don't want a hug? Oh, okay. Oh my God. Oh, thank you. And someone tried to clap for them. Thank you. Oh wow, that's so nice.
They took one for the team, giving you.
I feel so pitied right now. This is great. Let's get a Twitter question in here. This is from Lily Behart. What was the funniest thing that happened on set?
Ooh, funniest thing that happened on set. Probably your little waddle sequence.
Oh, I did have a little while. I have these sweatpants, okay? They're genius. They're like cool, like meditation, like harem sweatpants.
Harem?
You know? Harem. That's what they're called, harem.
Harem is
I feel
not.
like a harem is not.
No, harem. Harem pants.
Okay.
It's a thing where the crotch is really low. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not just like, you know what I'm talking about?
Hammer pants. Hammer
No,
pants. Not,
harem.
but hammer pants.
Like,
They're like meditation pants. Anyways,
Okay.
I have these
Okay.
pants with this long crotch, and I pulled them up and tied the strap. They like go over my shoulders and my leg holes, and then I put my hands through the pockets, and then I flapped around. And do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to say about that?
no, it was a lot of that, and then a lot of the first ADs desperately screaming,
Screaming.
please stop. Haley,
Yeah.
we must stay on schedule, please.
Yeah. I feel for that lady. Drew was our first AD. I feel for her.
3 more questions from the audience. What do we got? Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Cole. Hi, Haley. My name is Christina.
Hi, Christina.
So my question is, how hard or difficult would you guys say the role was for you guys to play? And in future films, is there anybody that you guys would like to work with?
I think the most difficult part about the film for me was kind of the physical and emotional preparation. A lot of patients with cystic fibrosis are quite thin because the body simply doesn't absorb nutrients the way that ours would, due to how it affects the sort of mucus-lined organs. I'm not going to go into the mucus-lined organs, but it can make it very hard to maintain weight and gain weight, and so a lot of cystic fibrosis patients have to eat very many calories a day or get sort of a caloric paste through a tube. And so based on the advice from Claire, we had sort of built a nutritional regimen to cut us down and get us into that kind of physical representation of a CF patient. And I think that was challenging, and that was challenging for many reasons. But I think the other most challenging part about it was becoming close with patients who have now passed on. Because it's a very real and dangerous illness that affects young people like our age. And becoming close to them and doing the research with them, and knowing that this kind of representation was something they could spend in comparison to other people's lives, a good chunk of their life helping us through. And that's probably one of the hardest things.
Okay, thank you. Oh wait, the other part. Future films, who you guys like to work with?
Oh well, I took so long on that one. Why don't you
Cole just wants to work with me again, over and over.
Over and over again.
I wasn't expecting that to be as intense as it was. Who do I want to work with? A lot of people. I really want Tom Hanks to play my dad.
So you had a movie about your life where he plays your actual dad, or you just want to play his daughter in a movie?
Oh, I haven't thought of that, but that would be great. My dad's name is Forrest, and he played Forrest Gump.
There it is.
So the connection's
Do you
already
think
there.
he wants to bring that role back?
But not as the original
But not
Forrest,
as
as
the
a new
original.
Forrest.
Him and don't they have a kid? Him and Jenny?
Yeah,
could be their
played by
kid.
Haley Joel Osment.
A young boy.
Oh, my name's Haley.
Okay, this is getting a little uncanny, actually.
I mean, things happen in life.
I really want to play this game with you for a very long time. Couple more. What do we got?
Anyways, thank you for your question.
Thanks.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So first, about your crocheting. I just learned to knit in 3rd North, where you used to live.
That was my dorm.
That's my dorm now.
That was my
NYU.
dorm.
Oh, in college.
Yes,
And
in
we
college.
is right
Good
over
for
there.
you,
Thank
school.
you. So, we might be competing at Etsy stores in the future. Who knows? But I just wanted to.
Uh-oh, competition.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask. How did this role? How did you guys prepare, in the mental state for it? Because it is obviously a very emotionally draining role, and I've seen people reviewing it with cystic fibrosis, and they seem to say that you got it pretty accurate. And so, how did
those
you prepare?
YouTube videos, the one of the cystic guy is so cool to watch.
Yeah.
Did you watch that one?
It was reviewing it, and he was freaking out because it was actually accurate.
Yeah,
and it's so easy.
and that's
to,
the one reaction that
Yeah.
we really care about.
Yeah.
So that meant a lot watching that. But Yeah, I think for me, obviously making it doing the research, Googling and learning the medically accurate things and representing that properly, the best we can do in movie world, and like learning about what CF does to your body and how that would physically feel and look was extremely important. It was like number one. But I think that it was harder to do the research of understanding and talking to people like Claire. And watching YouTube videos of people with CF about how it affects you emotionally and how it changes how you look at like life and how you view your life and the choices you make and the relationships you form and how you view those relationships. So I think understanding that and really putting yourself as much as you can as an actor in that position emotionally was like draining and hard and sad, but I think that, we had to do that. It's not the kind of, performance that you can like phone in.
Yeah.
That means you like, just show up and you just say the lines and leave. That's what phone in means.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Really, just spending time with real patients, and we had a medical professional with us pretty much every step of the way.
I had a CF nurse. She's for the last 30 years of her life. She's just worked with kids with CF. And she was there. I think she was hired to make sure everything was accurate medically.
Yeah.
But
she became a tremendous emotional resource as well.
For us, yeah. Better than any acting coach that they could have hired. I would talk with her. There's a scene where my character gets told that she has to go under general anesthesia, which is, it sounds like, oh, got to get surgery. But it's like, that's really high stakes for someone with CF. And she shared with me and, got emotional sharing with me what it would be like when she was telling her kids, that's what she calls them, that they would have to do something like that. And just having those conversations made it so much more real and then so much more available to get there and feel those things.
And did you guys need to do anything to get out of that depressing zone? Not depressing, but heavy emotional state?
Yeah, let's not talk about it like it's a sort of heavy cloud, because the truth is people live with this and they survive with this, and to these cystic fibrosis patients, it's the only thing they've known.
Yeah.
I think as an actor, really the only thing you can control is what happens on set when you're in front of the camera. And you can try and bend other parts of the production around your performance and so on and so forth. But when you step out of that environment, you're basically done with the production cycle. And really you have to kind of just let go. And the whole process of letting go is can be difficult, but with enough time you learn to have a reflexive enough tool set to jump into whatever your next project is going to be.
Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question.
Hi.
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 I was just wondering, since as you said that CF isn't really widely discussed or not as well known as other diseases, what you're hoping this film will cause in discussions, or what the hopes for the film's outcome will be?
Good question.
Well, I think awareness is an incredibly important thing. And public discussion is an incredibly important thing, especially when it's about people's challenges and living with something like cystic fibrosis, because it gives a launching point for people to talk and connect with patients that have cystic fibrosis, which can be a tremendous force for optimism. And knowing that people resonate with your struggle, and knowing that people can recognize and talk to you and understand in a deeper emotional way what you're going through is one of the most positive things that a person in that position can have. And obviously in a kind of financial way, we're hoping that this discussion launches a resurgence in sort of financial support and financial interest in searching for cures. Cystic fibrosis is one of those things that very many people truly believe a cure is on the horizon for. And that with enough time and enough research and enough funding, realistically, within however many generations, a cure can be found for. So in the most magical sort of long-term sense, we're hoping that the bridging between this movie and actual cystic fibrosis creates a honest dialogue with the general public, and then interested investors and people who are looking to put money and resources towards finding that cure.
And then I hope too that people just leave the movie theater feeling like they stepped out of their, your troubles that we feel on a day-to-day basis, and you just forget about that. You watch a movie, you see these people's stories. At the heart of their story, they're realizing like what it means to be alive right now, and how just important it is that everything we do in our life, we do that so we enjoy right now in our life, and that is so inspiring. It really is. Inspiring is an overused word, but this movie is inspiring.
Guys, the film's called 5 Feet Apart. It's inspiring. It's beautiful. 2 wonderful performances at the center of it. It opens this Friday. Everybody give Cole and Haley a huge round of applause for coming out today. Thank you.